Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we'll be looking at this 2003 Audi TT Quattro. And this is a vehicle for sale by one of my friends, so we'll do a little bit of a video on it and kind of take a look. I am not much of an Audi guy. It's not so much that I don't like them, I just have never really been around them. Of the Audi, BMW, and Mercedes, I'm kind of more of a Mercedes guy, so this will be a little bit different for me. So we'll just kind of take a look, and don't mind the cicadas in the background. It's kind of loud out here, but anyway, it's starting to cool off for the day. It was 93 or 94 out, so just a little cooler, and we'll put up with the bugs. That's better than the heat. So the other thing I was going to say is with this car, as we're looking over it, there's some things that aren't quite done. I mean, this one isn't perfect, but there's some good, there's some bad, but there's no ugly. I think that's kind of the idea here. Everything that's kind of wrong with it, so to speak, is fixable, but it's up for sale, so because most of the work is done. So if somebody would want it in this shape, it's definitely for sale. If it sits a little while, maybe a little more will be done. So if there's something in the video that you're concerned about, just make sure that you check so that we're clear as to whether or not it's fixed, or basically what state it's in. So starting at the front, just kind of take a look around and look over the condition of everything. So this is the first generation of Audi TT, of the TT, and this is the 1.8 turbo, making about 180 horsepower. So these cars changed a lot over the years. They're a lot more macho looking now, but I did drive this car just for a couple minutes, and it certainly doesn't drive kind of like I would expect. Everything at the front end is nice. The paint on the hood is in nice shape. You'll notice this line across the front. There is like a clear paint protector film on it. The headlamps are in very nice shape. They've all been cleaned up and polished. These are aftermarket wheels. As you can see, the tires are in nice shape with decent tread. The factory wheels are available upon request, so they are there. Nice side markers on the fender there, as is typical with European cars. A very low, sleek profile with this car. Very neat. To me, it looks kind of like a trimmed down Porsche, which I always thought was cool. A lot nicer than a Beetle too, because there's a lot. I guess there's a lot of similar things between those cars, like a Boxster and this and a Porsche. But anyway, what do I know? So everything's in pretty nice shape at the back. No major dings or dents. No major situations where the car's been repainted. Nice and clean. I thought this would be plastic, and it may be, but it feels metallic. I'm not sure. So I think it's metal, just a lightweight metal, but I could be wrong about that. Everything's nice and clean and straight down this side. All the windows are tinted on the sides and the back, not the front, of course. But anyway, all right. So we'll take a look at the back here. I have the key with me. So notice the TT and then the Quattro badge on the side here. Nice exhaust tips there. So we have the key fob here, and it's one of the switchblade type keys. Typical Volkswagen Audi stuff. These are pretty cool. I remember when these were kind of the only keys that did that. Now it seems like everybody's copied it, but anyway. So just press a button on the remote and the trunk will open. So you have a light overhead. These struts are in good shape, definitely holds the hatch up. This is kind of one of those areas that needs a little bit of work. The bottom of the trunk here, it's not bent up or anything. There's a couple things in it right now keeping it from closing the whole way, but it looks terrible on camera. It's just a little bit of dirt, and it's worn through in some areas. So, this would be a fairly simple piece to replace, or get a nice, cargo cover that would kind of cover it all up. But you do have a light here on the side as well as overhead, which is nice. Down below you have your spare tire jack. There's some fluid there right now, it seems, but anyway, these seats do fold down, and you have nice tie downs here. I guess these are for tying something down as well. Nice metal hooks down here and up underneath here as well. So very cool. Some vents in the side there. Kind of a higher load, floor, but it's actually a lot of space and practicality for a vehicle like this. So that's pretty cool. The seats aren't huge, but you definitely get some room there. So that's kind of neat. It's a very practical car. This reminds me, I don't know, certain people will probably not take this as a compliment, but to me this seems like a lot like a Saab, where it's a car that you can drive for fun, but you can still use and get a lot of practicality out of. And this car has the spoiler. Apparently, I just found this out recently, but apparently the early TTs were recalled for not having a spoiler. It messed with the aerodynamics and the handling, I suppose. So, and then before we look inside, we'll just take a look under the hood here. All right. So this is the 1.8 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, again making about 180 horsepower. This is mated to a 6-speed manual transmission. And I should check these cars a little better. There's a trim piece that goes here. That's off right now, but it is with the car. We do have it. So everything's pretty nice and clean down inside. No major leaks. Everything looks nice and clean. Pretty nice for a driving, you know, a car that you're going to drive. It's not show quality by any means, but, you know, it's not full of mud or anything. Nice and clean underneath as well, so. And this car is also inspected in Pennsylvania until next July, so, you know, good tires, good brakes. It's also riding on new suspension, fresh inspection. So there's a lot of good things about this car that make it really a pretty good deal. So you have some nice pockets here. It looks like there's a socket in there now. You've got your mirror controls and window switches here on the side. But interestingly, kind of a very flat and almost plain door panel, but it looks nice with just basic materials, no wood trim, but nice satin nickel finishes here, and you know, interesting textures and colors. Nice Bose audio on this car. I like the sill plates that say TT on them. Here's another situation. The bolster here is a little bit worn, so you know, maybe you could patch or repair this piece or replace this piece and have it re-dyed. But the rest of the seats are in pretty good shape. But anyway, we'll get to that in a minute there. I'm going to put this seat back and you'll see the rear seat area. It's a little bit narrow. I guess you could get some children in, but kind of small. There are some speakers in the back and the first aid kit on the other side. So I'm not too tall, but I think I even might have a hard time fitting back there, and probably wouldn't be comfortable for too terribly long. You know, nice headrests here that are adjustable, height and forward and backward, which I kind of like. You have adjustments, manual adjustments here for the seats. These seats are really nice and supportive. Nice bolstering as well. Just kind of step inside here and start this up. Like I said, it was about 95 out, so it's hot out today. All right, I'm going to turn this fan up just a hair, a little too much. Okay, that's a little bit better. And we'll get the door closed here. We have sunshades both sides with mirrors, and then the lights in the headliners. You have all your light controls up here. And then, yeah, this will turn them all on, and that'll turn off the light if when the doors are open. Nice simple mirror. You do have home link controls up here, which that's kind of a nice feature. I wasn't expecting that, so that's really cool. The vents here are about the only thing on the upper part of the dash, except for in the center here. These do, you know, they turn to shut the air off, and then turn to the left to allow air through, and to the right to turn it off, is what I should say. But very cool. And then you do have the directional adjustment there, so that's really cool. You know, you see bezels in every car, but it's kind of cool to see one that actually does something, so I like that. One thing that also needs addressed, this glove box, it's missing a piece here, and I'm not sure if it opens or not. I haven't messed with it myself personally, but that's one of those things that either needs replaced, or you know, you can deal with yourself if you choose to buy it. In addition to that, the switch for the heated seat, one of the clips is broken, so that needs replaced. But if you press it, it just goes into the dash, so we're just going to leave that. It should pop out like this, and then you can turn to make your adjustments there, and then just press to put it away. Traction control in this car is available, right? And then you have your hazards there, rear defrost. The radio is underneath this cover, and that that certainly seems like metal to me. Certainly seems like the same material that they're using on the fuel filler cap, which leads me to believe that that is in fact metal. Nice AM/FM radio here. This does do CD. No cassette deck here. Then this is your climate control. These switches don't really turn, they just sort of pivot. So that's kind of cool. Very interesting. You have your temperature adjustment here on the right, and you just pull to turn everything off. So that's really cool. Usually buttons push and then bounce back. It's weird that you pull on something and then have to push it back. So interesting, very interesting. Then you have your vent adjustments here. Defrost, this will send the air to the floor. Recirculation, front defrost. Economy, which will lock out the AC compressor. You have some different compartments here. You've got the ashtray and the cigarette lighter. And there's another compartment down here that slides forward. This is the release for the fuel cap. Oh, I can't see it. The release for the fuel door is here, and then that's for the trunk release. You have the airbag reminder down here. That's kind of interesting. In a lot of new cars, the reminder is huge, and it's also very high up, so that's kind of cool. And again, 6-speed manual. You got your parking brake here, lock and unlock down here. There's some coins and such in this little tray, and then there's a cup holder back here. So I have that. On the steering wheel, no controls, just the horn. Over here, we're going to have cruise control and the controls for the lights, high beams, I should say, and then the light controls are over here to the side. You have off, then your parking lamps, and then on. This adjusts the panel, and you pull for fog lamps, I believe. Yep, you do. Okay. And then this would be the wiper controls here. Okay. And that's about it for the inside. It's you know, not a lot of, like I said, no wood, not a lot of chrome, but this nice satin nickel finish looks good, and you know, it all looks proper. Everything's in nice shape. This dash is exceptional. This is one of the best dashes that I've seen in you know, a lot of the cars that I've been looking at lately. So not sure why that is. It's weird, but it does look really nice. So anyway, so that's that. We'll take it out on the road and go for a little drive. So the first thing I'm noticing driving this car is just that right off the bat, it's fun to drive. I like the clutch feel. The clutch engagement is nice. The gear shift is nice. There's almost no turbo lag. These seats are very supportive. The suspension's set up very well, so you can really go around corners, and it doesn't you know, doesn't throw you around too much in the car. Everything feels firm and planted. There's no slip because it's all-wheel drive. Again, just very good power. The brakes are sharp. The suspension's all been redone, so that's of course all proper, but it's just a blast to drive. Really no complaints. I guess compared to like the 3 Series, this has a little bit lighter steering, but it's not floaty. It's, you know, it feels good. The steering wheel is also really nice and grippy while we're on steering. Other than that, it just feels very light and tossable. I think this is a little bit more fun to drive than the 3 Series. The 3 Series convertible is, you know, it's a lot more fun just for driving. I think mainly because it's a lot stiffer. I like this also a little bit better than the 3 Series Coupe that I drove a little while ago, just because this just feels a little bit more fun. Although that did have a really great engine. That one did pull really well. This is right up there with that. I guess this one must be a little lighter. But anyway, so that's pretty much the driving take of it. Otherwise, this is a very interesting car to be in because the opening for the doors is kind of small. There's very narrow windows. You feel like you're kind of in a really tight, almost like cramped area, but it's actually not that bad. There's a lot of headroom, a lot of room around you. It just kind of feels a little claustrophobic at first, but would take a little bit of getting used to, I guess. Again, I've just got to say, this is just so surprising how powerful and how fast it feels. It's really impressive, especially with this transmission. It's just great. I guess all the early Audi TTs came with a you know, with a manual, and then later they had the dual clutch. There weren't really any automatics at the beginning, so I guess you kind of had to like that to drive it. But I think that's the proper way to drive a car like this anyway. But of course, being a manual, that makes it a little bit more tricky to film. So I'm going to wait till I can pull over and I'll get the camera mount set up. I don't use the camera mount because it gets really bouncy, but again, that's kind of the only way to you know, to drive a car like this and film it. So let me get that set up, and then we'll pick this up at some point down the road. Alright, so after having fun driving this car around, getting some footage for this video, my takeaway for this car is that, in one word, it's fun. You know, there's definitely cars out there with more power, or that handle better, or are less expensive, but this car does a really good job of balancing all of those things. I would probably, if I was looking for one of these, I'd probably either look for one that was really clean and in great shape and keep it nice, or else I would buy one like this, which is kind of a little bit beat up, and then just kind of drive it and use it in the winter. I'm sure these would be pretty good in the snow with, you know, at least with proper tires. But anyway, just such a fun little car to drive around with, and, you know, after hammering on it for a little bit and, you know, just messing about with, you know, I now have it in 5th gear, just cruising along. Everything's nice and quiet. It's a very civilized car, so it does have that going for it too. So anyway, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. I'll see you with the next one.